my prediction pick, playing the devil's advocate, hoping they come through on nuke.
I want to see great things. I want to see big things here. So far, oh, it looks like it's going to be pretty quick play. In fact, speaking about AdreN, at least, you know, they're trying to get some information here, Astana. Not really just Glock training it anywhere. In fact, taking their time. Angel does get picked off as he tries to make a quick dash down to vents, though, and that's not going to work out for him. And the bomb gets taken down over at Squake. NiKO going to work.
And right now, you know, obviously Astana wanted to get Angel down into the vents and, you know, try to force a rotation of some sort, but they're getting picked up one by one, and this is not going to go well for Astana.
Oh, great shots, in fact, coming in so far. 3 guys remain alive, and we still have markeloff. He's got Kevlar, he's got the bomb, but a great headshot from NiKO again. His 3rd one. I mean, NiKO's just racking up headshots so far. Oh, only 37% actually on him, so wondering what's that about. Oh, it's marred by the pregame stuff, so the stats can't quite pay attention to him for now, but that was already a fine start and a great pistol round coming in here for GamePub to start off this series.
And NiKO has to come up huge for GamePub because, you know, in the previous lineups they've had, he's been the star player, and he has to play absolutely huge in order for GamePub to pull off a victory versus Astana.
I mean, so far it seems to be doing pretty well for him, although outside he's taking a lot of damage. He has to be a little bit careful here. Was dueling it up with the 2 guys over on top of Silo, and he's actually going to manage to make it back below Heavens. That's actually a pretty big deal here. Drops his hit. I like that play as well. Swaps out the Bison for the M4, gives it to a full health teammate to use. Kingor up in the Heavens is actually going to be keeping eyes on Yard now. So already GamePub, you know, they're showing that they're on top of their game so far.
Yeah, absolutely, and you don't want to waste weapons versus eco rounds. So, and now, as I said, that Kingor also put down to 8 HP, so they have to be careful now.
Oh, you've got the follow coming in from Nikolino as well. He's already getting 1 headshot onto AdreN. I mean, Astana Dragons really just trying to take control of Yard, but the guys holding below Heaven are just putting out some great damage right now. Smoke is going to go down to block that off as well, and Astana Dragons, with 30 seconds left on the clock, are kind of left with their dick in their hands. They don't have anywhere to go. They kind of have to go for the upper play now at this point.
Yeah, and I can't see this ending well for them. They're probably going to try to go around main, or that would probably be the easier choice instead of funneling people up the ladder, but they do get a pick off on Nikolino, so
yeah, that's a big deal here, but they all line up here. NENO is actually managing to pick up the 1, but he's not going to get another one. Angel actually takes him out, but with 8 seconds left on the clock, they don't have time to waste. They have to make the run for it, but the men in vents are going to stop him from getting the plant, and that is going to be the end of that round there. The second round coming to a close. Pretty decent eco, though, so far for Astana. They didn't get the plant, but they still managed to get 2 kills for a moderate investment on their part.
Yeah, they did not. Yeah, they did not opt for the P250 armor. They just went straight at P250s, and what looked like was going to be a complete stomp, and, you know, them ending up in no man's land and possibly, you know, running out the clock, which is not what you want. They actually managed to salvage some of it by getting those 2 frags.
Yeah, just getting up close, getting some shots in. Nino's already starting to pick off 1. Markeloff actually drops down in the radio, so that's a bit of a problem. The bomb goes down, but Angel with a deagle headshot onto Nikolino in Yard. That's gonna be a potential opening here for Astana Dragons to go ahead and jump on. And so far, it looks like they're just kind of content to still look for information on how GamePub are holding. They're just darting around all over the place, but they do get control of Yard again.
Right now, though, they're kind of spread out. You see AdreN with a bomb all alone. As I say that, he gets taken out by NENO, and it's all up to Angel.
There we go. So I mean, good clean one there. NiKO.
Yeah.
I mean, you get 1 dig. You can't help but say good shot, because that is actually an achievement. You know, you get that warm and fuzzy feeling. You get that like 1-shot headshot with the deagle. That's something to feel good about.
Yeah, you get that tingly sensation.
Yeah, man.
In your nether regions.
I mean, it does feel pretty good, guys. Go out and try it for yourself sometimes. You see, it is pretty fun, and when you do get the headshot, you're just like, well, that was hard to do. So well done, sir. Good job. But now we have the first buy round coming in here for Astana Dragons. So this is when things get shaken up. This is when we may see a change here of pace, seeing as how Astana, again, slow, patient, just taking their time, really working their way out. And in fact, we do have a man, and that is Nikolino out in the garage. He's managed to spot 1 man up on top of main. He's going for the spray, but he can't get the kill. AdreN manages to take him out, and all of a sudden, that's the opening here for Astana Dragons. Nobody else out in Yard. There is, I mean, it's Kingor who has to come in below Heaven and try and keep an eye on things, but this is going to be limited for him.
And it seems like Astana just wants to wait for rotations really to getting a, you know, somewhat of an idea of how GamePub are playing him.
Ooh.
And it's not working out right now as Kucher goes down to Kingor.
And Kingor gets a second one as well. Big plays. This is massive. And now Emmy comes in, manages to get one from Secret. All of a sudden, Astana Dragons are just getting overwhelmed. Too slow there. In fact, it looks like they want to try and shape up for the for some sort of playthrough hut. But the problem is that Emmy was waiting there. He did do a lot of damage to markeloff before getting taken out. And now it's just Dosia and markeloff in this 2-on-3 with 20 seconds.
Yeah, this is a tough round to get for Astana. I don't really see this ending well for them.
Oh, mistiming there on the Molotov. That's unfortunate. Dosia manages to spray down one. They do come back and turn it into the 1v2, and they're trying to split him up as well. The bomb has been dropped. He has to go for the kill, Dosia, but unfortunately for him, he's just not going to get it. And that is the 4th round. It's such an important round for GamePub. They managed to hold on to it. They lose 3 guys. They still have to spend some money to get them re-equipped, but they still, most importantly, hold on to that round.
And right now, Astana are trying to, you know, take each and every round kind of patiently. And, you know, as you should, you get the entry frag. You want to see if the CTUs will bite on any sort of rotation so you can pick up an easy frag, really, follow it up. But, you know, GamePub were doing a good job not falling for that bait. They were cool, calm, and collected and managed to, you know, turn around a poor situation in their favor. And Astana, you know, for the 2nd time in a row, barely ran out the clock.
That's the thing. They really are taking quite a bit of time to get the ball rolling for themselves. You know, every play we've seen, that was a pretty sick nade there. But every play we've seen so far has really been with like 20 seconds left, 30 seconds left. You know, like really getting down to that line where they can no longer afford to make any mistakes. They have to land perfect shots and just get down there. Unfortunately for them, it seems like GamePub are pretty on point today. They're really showing that they're quite capable. I don't know, Ben. All of a sudden, things are looking pretty good here for your prediction. This is GamePub, you know, giving us a pretty fine start. Knock on wood, of course.
Yeah, knock on wood. I'm hoping they can you know, continue this and grab some momentum. At least get, you know, 10 rounds, something like that going into the T side. But then again, Astana is Astana, and they could, you know, turn on the engines and basically roll over you at any given time.
Yeah, that's the real thing. If Dosia starts landing shots, I mean, each and every one of them are capable of just massive damage. That's the scary part here. You do see one set up here. You guys can see a little bit of a nade set up here by Kucher.
And Astana are again taking it really slowly. They're just patiently waiting, seeing if anyone tries to peek out, and if anyone from GamePub kind of wants to risk, you know, go for a risk really and get an entry frag. But so far, GamePub playing really safe and solid, not letting Astana get any sort of momentum going.
It's refreshing to see that, isn't it, as well? I mean, they really are just showing that they're so calm, cool, and collected. But there's the molly down. Love this play by Intel. That's actually going to cost them a lot of damage running through that. markeloff drops down to half health before he even sees anybody. And this is a real problem. Kingor comes in, racks him up. Intel still alive in the heavens. There's the second one. And all of a sudden, Astana Dragons, they try and go for this coordinated play on upper. And unfortunately for them, they just get blitzed down.
And that Molotov from Intel coming up from the rafters there was huge for you know, the GamePub side. Absolutely huge. You know, okay, one of the guys managed to get through out of hut and do some damage before the Molotov went off, but he pretty much just stopped that rush, or he neutralized it because he did so much damage just with that one grenade. And it's pretty much why they won the round. It's a great play from Intel.
Yeah, it forces Astana all of a sudden to hesitate. It's like, sure, you want to come outside of the hut? You got to run through fire first. You know, can you do that without well taking half your health? I don't think so. So really, it does put Astana in a tight spot. But again, they managed to find the entry out in yard. They do manage to remove NiKO. So again, Astana Dragons with an opportunity here to get a good start. Dosia takes one to the dome though. That's scary. He drops down to 10 HP, but Kucher is still trying to press his luck over here in secret. They're just trying to find a way in at this point. But again, GamePub not really willing to give this up. They're just taking their time. Emmy could get caught here, however. He has to be careful. But it's going to be NENO actually going down in the radio room. And this is now actually kind of getting out of control here. Astana Dragons, a 2-man advantage. A lot of damage being taken, but there's the flank coming in from AdreN. Catches Kingor out. And AdreN on a tear gets a second kill on upper.
And right now it's all on Emmy. And I don't see him pulling off this 1-on-5. Astana's gotten into a proper setup, really. They've got AdreN. Well, there's AdreN coming out from heaven, making short work of MI, and there you saw something GamePub hasn't done in the previous round. They went too aggressive. You know, okay, NiKO does get picked up in yard. That happened in the previous round as well, but NENO didn't push into radio. Because as soon as NENO gets picked off, the rotation from heaven happens and he gets picked off by AdreN in the back. All that stuff, it kind of just snowballs really when you start messing up your rotations and giving the terrorists a lot of room to work with really.
That's right, that's right. We actually had a bit of a change again here. We see now Emmy managing to shake things up, but they had NiKO threw down the smoke to block off vision, and they managed to get, well, Emmy down into secret very quickly, and we see he's already managed to pick up 2 kills on Astana Dragons. So there's that 1-for-2 trade out in yard, and GamePub all of a sudden looking pretty healthy and hale here. They've got 4 guys still out working on the site, or working on the map, that is. Astana Dragons looks like they've grouped everybody on lobby. They're flashing into upper, and it looks like this is going to be the play for them, but still, smokes are down. No mollies this time to bring everything to a halt, but NiKO's in a good position to put a stop to this. Already managed to pick up the 1. And now, well, AdreN, he's still looking. I mean, you've got 2 guys in the HUD here. They're trying to find the kill. They managed to take out NiKO, but this has bought so much time now for GamePub to rotate in. And from 2 different angles, they get the kills. Just wrap everything up, and that's another very, you know, it seems like clean round for GamePub. They didn't really seem too stressed by that.
Yeah, and the great thing there, again, you see them making an adjustment to what they, you know, lost the previous round on. MI picks up 2 frags in yard, doesn't go for the 3rd one, even though he spots KucheNYL on silo. He just says, you know, I got 2 frags, my team is up 1 man, I'm gonna take that. I'm just getting the hell out of there. And that's smart. So great. Yeah, because you always want the man advantage. Like, why not? Right now.
Right now, it seems like they were thinking this was like an eco round or something like that. I don't know, but right now, NiKO manages to find Angel out in the yard. That was a really aggressive push-up from KucheNYL into radio. Manages to pick up 1. 3 kills so far for GamePub. That, I mean, again, talking about changing up their strategy, it looks like they're really just trying to keep Astana Dragons off balance right now. They're like, okay, we'll hold passive 1 round, but then we'll just get up in your face the other one. And KucheNYL does manage to spot, I believe that's Kucher, yeah, out in the yard.
And AdreN's also been spotted on top of T-roof right there, and he's pulled back into lobby right now. But Astana doesn't have anywhere to go right now. You can see GamePub they pretty much locked down every area of the map, and I don't see AdreN or Kucher pulling this one off.
This is going to be hard, no doubt about it. AdreN manages to find Emmy, who's actually pushed in, and there's 2 good kills coming in. However, Kucher managed to get 1. AdreN gets another one. In the blink of an eye, they drop it back down, but now it's the 1v2, and there's the flank. Doesn't see it coming. NiKO catches them off guard, and that was, again, holding, but giving up 3 guys again.
Yeah, like we talked about, you know, GamePub having, or previously having a somewhat aggressive CT style, or, you know, being able to pull that out, and we saw that right there. I think they were expecting an eco.
Yeah, it seemed like it, right?
Yeah, because Astana just went around and lost the 2nd one. You know, you're going to be pressed for money in any case if that happens. And, well, it did work out for them in the end, and right now it's only AdreN with a weapon on the Astana side.
Yeah, but he's managed to actually pick off NiKO, so this is the problem. One of his teammates is going to be able to recover an AK. Dosia picks it up, and they do get spotted out. KucheNYL gets confirmation that they are still trying to push up on yard and get control of that, but they've lost control of that AK. That's a big deal here for GamePub. All of a sudden they have to think about that. Markeloff going to town on KucheNYL, drops him to 50, and Dosia's going to come right around the corner, walking into him. This is scary business here all of a sudden for GamePub. They know that 2 AKs are on the field, and they can't afford to get caught out.
And Angel there with the backstab. Summoning his inner get right, picking up KucheNYL, but still, GamePub 1 man up, and AdreN is on he's not in a great position with 22 HP.
Yeah, after taking that fight with NiKO out in yard, he did drop. NiKO just came, I mean, you know, that was it. It was the 22 HP left, came just short. But Dosia, this is still Dosia we're talking about with an AK. He can make the difference, and he is going to get onto Heavens. The problem is he will get spotted, and now shots going out on him. That's the bomb dropped as well. AdreN tries to come in to support, save the day, but it is not going to happen. And yeah, NiKO is wondering, like, what was your HP, AdreN? Because that was quite a long duel going on between the 2 of them out in yard.
Yeah, and, you know, given the caliber of these players, you're surprised that, you know, nobody got the headshot earlier.
Exactly, yeah, you're just like, wait a second, what is going on here? Because usually you get spotted with an AK, it's near instant death, but
yeah.
not that time.
And again, we've seen AdreN bought up an AK last round, and I think that might have been a misspy because he's rocking a PT-50 right now and just nades, while his teammates are, you know, somewhat equipped with AKs and grenades. So things are not right. Something is rotten in the state of Astana right now.
That's what makes you wonder as well. You know, it's something that Thorin was mentioning as well, DreamHack. You know, that once Astana get behind, you know, do they have what it takes to actually grind games out and get back into a match in a meaningful way, in a real way? And right now, I mean, they're 8 rounds behind, and if they are making mistakes, you know, what kind of mental state are Astana in at this point? GamePub, again, looking really solid, having inflicted quite a bit of damage to Dosia to start things. And again, NENO's going to push forward. He wants to get Dosia. He wants to pick him off. Not going to find him, though.
And at this point in the game, as the T side, you start to get worried about, you know you have to get rounds on T side. You don't have to get a lot, but you have to get some. And we might see Astana being a bit weary, really, about doing stuff right now as they push out onto ramp.
They've managed to work it out so far. That was actually pretty solid. But Emmy looks like he's going to find one. NiKO comes back. It's a quick trade. It's back down to a 2-on-2 all of a sudden. But with 20 seconds left on the clock, it looks like they will manage to get the plant in time. Kucher just putting down that bomb. Sets up at the back of sight. And now it's all up to Intel and NiKO to go for the retake. The problem is, it's going to be very hard here. They have to find Kucher first. But there's the shot. Kucher gets the headshot onto Intel. And now he tries to go for it. But no, it's going to be NiKO. Manages to return on him, just barely fails to kill Angel again, and Angel's still alive in this. The bomb is ticking, though. There's running out of time, and because of that, he has to go for the aggressive option, and Angel punishes him hard. Nice round there for Astana. All of a sudden, 2 rounds on the board. You're talking about them needing to get rounds? There we go. Finally, perhaps an opportunity here for them to start getting a couple of them under their belt.
And now the big thing is, do not lose this round, because as you can see, their money situation is absolutely dire. They have no chance of actually buying anything worthwhile if they lose this round, so they have to win it. And you can see MI, you know, he gets spotted out, but he's playing that secret position as he did a couple of rounds ago, where he got the 2 frags and then just pulled back. So Astana really have to be careful now pushing into yard.
That's scary, but they're nice. We have that triple triangle going up. The 3 points. One gets nailed. Angel does manage to find Kingor up in the heavens, but his 2 teammates are there to support. They quickly return on that. And now it looks like they're trying to change up the game here, Astana Dragons. They're trying to push down onto ramp, and Nino's just going to fall back. He's going to give ground and get back up to a better position on the site, seeing as how Emmy's in a position here to support him. If they come down ramp, they have the crossfire setup. And there we go. As we say it, 2 quick kills coming for Emmy, and we still have, well, we don't have Nino anymore. But 2 good kills coming in from NiKO in the end to seal the deal. That's going to be the end of the round, and all of a sudden, that was such an important round for both teams, because you really just said, you know, both teams were in such dire straits as far as economy is concerned. GamePub as well were on the brink of ecoing if they lost that. Now they have a breath of fresh air. Now they can look into this and be like, okay, we managed to recover somewhat. And
that's a scary round. Again, the last time MI went aggressively towards Secret, he made a huge play that won GamePub the round. And same thing this round. It could have gone a bit crazy, seeing how NENO got picked off somewhat, you know, unnecessarily. But MI stepping up and getting those 2 really important frags onto AdreN and his teammate going into ramp there.
That was such a big play, managing to hold on like that. And now, well, things getting a little bit rough here. Kucher and markeloff still alive. They got P250s. If they can get close within that kill range, but the flash is just going out. It seems like GamePub are well aware of what's going on. The smoke is down now, and they're trying to catch him out, but they have the cross. Kingor is there. NENO pushes through for the final kill. That is 11-2 now. Getting into the 14th round. 11-2 on the CT side really starts to put a lot of pressure here on Astana Dragons, and we see that. You know, they're going to go for a buy. They realize they are in very tight spots right now. 3 Galils and just like 4 nades to work with.
It's now or never for Astana. They have to get rounds on the board right now. They preferably, you know, optimally, they want to get the 2 last rounds to have some sort of a, you know, cushion, really, if they lose to CT pistol. But if they can't get that, it's gonna be, they're gonna have a bad time on CT side.
Now look at this. I mean, Angel just they just rush right past NiKO. NiKO a little bit out of position there, just lets him by. They're passed down to lower now. They could actually completely outflank everybody here. Angel in a pretty decent spot. Emmy is holding over in vents, it looks like, and he's just going to be hanging around here. Kucher's looking for that, though. Realizes that there is a man in a position, but now Angel's giving away his position as well. They know that there's a man down on window. This could get really tricky here as to who gets this first kill. It's going to be so important to start the ball rolling, but Angel gets spotted out, and there we go. Quick work. Emmy gets one.
And that's absolutely huge for GamePub because the Dragons are so spread out right now, so they can't really group up together within a matter of seconds and actually attack a site. And this is going to allow for GamePub to actually set up a decent defense.
Oh, and markeloff gets spotted out and Squeaky as well. He actually point blanks it, but that's the bomb down. Kucher comes around the corner though and catches him off guard. But there is KucheNYL up in the heavens. He does manage to pick up the one. It's back down to a one-on-one. And when it comes down to it, NENO comes up the ladder in the nick of time to pick off Dosia in the end. And that is going to be the nail in the coffin here as far as the first half is concerned for Astana Dragons. They've got $3,000 to work with. You can see markeloff just goes for the flat AK. He's like, screw you guys. Armor, what's that?
Yeah, at this point there's not really that many options. I mean, you just he even dropped the weapon for AdreN as well because AdreN has that, you know, head armor. So they're going to use AdreN as kind of the hero, the sole hero in this round and see if we can get a pick.
He's out in yard right now, and NiKO's actually waiting on the right side of garage. Is AdreN going to see this in time, though? Or is NiKO going to have the timing? And there it is. NiKO found him. So solid work. All of a sudden, we're talking about AdreN being the point man here for Astana Dragons this round, how important he was. He gets taken out without even having seen who gets the kill. And then the sick nade right on top of Dosia as well. Emmy comes up from secret, does that yet again, and manages to net one. And GamePub are just looking so on point right now. 13-2 for a final score in the first half. Well, there goes my prediction, man.
Right now, it's looking really good for GamePub. They played a solid start. In my eyes, they could have taken that half 15-0 because both the rounds they lost, they did glaring mistakes. But you have to give them credit for, you know, right after losing those rounds, they adjusted. You know, they recognized what their error was. First round they lost, NENO, you know, pushing out aggro on ramp by himself, leaving, you know, room for rotations for the T side. And right after that, he doesn't do it again. He just falls back on ramp whenever they try to push him down. Gets into safe position, makes sure he has teammates who can back him up so they can at least get the trade, you know, like we saw when NENO got picked up by AdreN on ramp there, and MI steps up from window and picks up two. That sort of stuff. Like, they're really on point with their rotations, making adjustments to how Astana plays, and really just smoothing out the errors they've made in previous rounds. And that's why they're up 13-2. Like, that's what happens when you have a really well-driven CT side, really, on Nuke.
It's also, I mean, they're just demonstrating the qualities of a top-tier team, being able to learn from their own mistakes so quickly. I mean,
Absolutely.
in the space of rounds, we're seeing them just be like, okay, this is what we did wrong. That's what we will never do again. And all of a sudden, you know, they're just continuously keeping Astana Dragons on the back foot in this match. So now this pistol round, you know, we don't really need to emphasize it too much, seeing as how I'm pretty sure you guys, if you're an Astana Dragons fan out there, you know that they need to secure this pistol to keep their hopes alive, or to really just have any kind of impact on this match. But now it is going to be the Glock train going straight down to ramp, and the man who's giving ground, Dosia, he's still hanging around here. He's still alive, trying to buy as much time as he can for his teammates to rotate in, and two guys coming in the vents in the nick of time, but they're getting chased back.
Oh, great headshot from KucheNYL right there onto Angel, and NENO picks up Kucher, and now it's a 2v2, and the Astana players doesn't have that much HP.
This is really scary. Yeah, AdreN is up here over on window. You can see him now trying to peek and see if he can spot anybody out. It looks like they want to just try and catch him off guard, though. There's the flash, and he's going to get taken out. Fine work there. And now markeloff. He's got the 5-7. Is he going to take the fight? And yes, he is. He's going to catch Emmy out. Emmy's caught on the ramp, and NENO is actually going to go up, but somehow Emmy gets the headshot on markeloff before markeloff can pull off anything real. And that right there is catastrophic for Astana Dragons. 14-2 scoreline. And the pistol goes GamePub's way. That is going to be problematic. Oh no.
That's a brutal slap in the face for Astana, but you know, can't cap them out. PT-50s in armor. We've seen it before, we can see it again, so
Anything's possible?
Anything's possible. Right now we're just hoping, you know, Astana can get a couple of rounds on the board and basically make a match out of it. But GamePub are looking really, really strong right now.
They are. I mean, they're just looking so on point. Like they've really ironed out all the kinks on Nuke. Like they're really familiar with this map.
And look how passively they're taking this. They know they're up against the NiKO. They don't see any reason as to why they should take any chance at all. Just playing it so slowly. And I love seeing this kind of terrorist play. And not just doing the headless thing and just bum rushing into the site. Just taking your time. Make sure you've got people around you to eventually or possibly trade. As Dosia though picks up one frag.
Oh man, Dosia, big play from him. That was so patient, that was so clean, and now he's in a great position here. He could catch them out again. He tries to go for it, but this time KucheNYL gets the better of him. But still, that's a 2-for-1 trade there. Dosia, just a 5-7 in armor, and he's already putting in the work. This is looking really good here all of a sudden for Astana. NENO gets picked off by AdreN in the meantime. We still have NiKO under heaven, but the problem is there's a man waiting for him right up there. And we can see markeloff, he's wondering, are they going to try and work around from outside? He's going to try and come up the ladder. He's in a good position to keep eyes on everything, and there we go. Here's the sounds on ladder. He's going to be ready for him. Perfect headshot comes out from markeloff, and now it's all down to KucheNYL, but he's not going to be there for long. AdreN gets the kill on him with the picked up Galil. And you see that as well. All of a sudden, they're just like, get the AKs, get the Galils, like just try and hand those out to stretch their money here, Astana, so that they can get a real buy again.
And that's probably the first round so far in this game that Dosia has made a contribution to his team. And it sounds harsh, but he was rocking, a single frag into the 14th round of the game. And a player like Dosia, obviously we know Dosia can go off for 30 frags at any given point. So Astana really needs him. And we saw that right there. When he hits his shot, Dragons are tough to deal with.
Yeah, that's what you have to worry about. And again, he's just racking up kills now at this point. He heard you, Ven. Even though they're, it's eco and this is an eco stomp, sure, but he's starting to get a little bit of kills, a few kills down his way. But this, it is true. When we watch Astana Dragons, in particular Astana Dragons, we expect to see everybody floating pretty even as far as the frags are concerned. Nobody really lagging behind. And here, we see a very different picture. AdreN with 15-15, so he's breaking 1-for-1. But then you have Kucher, Angel, Dosia, and markeloff all sitting sub-10. And they're keeping close together. There's a little something there, but they need to be getting up into the teens now as far as the kills are concerned here, Astana. But they've bought themselves a little time to work with. We are going to have a buy round coming in, however, from GamePub. So now's the real question.
Yeah, and GamePub can do this. Obviously they got the plant and they won the pistol, so they got some money from that round, and they're up by so many rounds that they're allowing themselves to take this sort of risk. Really, like they don't really have to use all their nades. They just want to break Astana.
They want to get in there, and they almost managed to catch Kucher out. Looks like they lost Emmy up in yard, however, to Angel. So again, Astana with a decent bit of room to work with here.
Headshot there. They have opened up ramp right now, and the NiKO picking up Kucher, and that's a huge fact. They just have to be, careful about Angel coming up from behind there.
There you go. As you mentioned it, he managed to get the headshot onto Intel, and this is going to be Angel and markeloff trying to split this open here. They're the last 2 men alive, so they have to get the job done by themselves, and there we go. markeloff takes out KucheNYL, but takes so much damage in the meantime. He's down to 2 points of health. Angel takes point knowing this, trying to get his teammates back. And that nade fails to do anything meaningful at all. Angel, he may catch him out though, and there we go, the 1v1 situation with the bomb down. But NENO is here. Angel, he reads this, he's looking for the ramp kill, but NENO gets it. And that is not how that was supposed to go for Astana. They were so close to clutching it out there, but in the end, 15-4, GamePub, they got their buy round in.
They did, and the risk paid off in a huge way. That frag NiKO got on Kucher at the lower site was absolutely crucial. Yeah, that was by far the biggest kill of the round. And
it opened up B side, and all of a sudden it's like, well, okay then, because they managed to clear out windows. They just had to get in there, get that plant, and that was just so little time for Astana Dragons to work with afterwards on the retake. Exactly, and having to do a retake on that lower side, it's probably the hardest thing after, retaking the B-bomb side on Dust 2. Yeah, it's so tough. You've got so many angles, to worry about. You got 2 vents, toxic, the door on Windows side, and the windows. And, obviously some guy could pop up from behind ramp if you're playing NIF, Get Right's going to be there. So, stuff like that. There's a ton of places where the T side can just pop up from.
So huge kill by NiKO that round. We'll see if they're able to actually, you know, pull this one out.
That's the thing. Now they need to secure it. And
they need to close it.
He's already fairly low. NiKo's actually managed to find a man out in yard, however. But you see the rotation coming out from Kucher already. Works his way down into vents and makes sure that they can't work their way through secret. This is just Astana Dragons trying to cover all the points at this way. You know, they're trying to cover all the points right now, but they're a man down. So more ground to cover, and it looks like markeloff will manage to find the one. Takes out NiKO out in the yard. So there is that, but it is going to be the ramp play after all here coming in. And Intel, they just managed to overwhelm here, so ramp is going to happen, and now, well, Astana Dragons are trying to rotate in, but with 15 seconds left on the clock, this isn't a whole lot of time here for GamePub to work with. They have to just try and take control and go.
Oh, MI, you could have saved the round. You could have been the big saver of that round. Instead, it's all up to KucheNYL.
No time. No time in the end. KucheNYL is the last man alive, and that is going to be the 5th round here for Astana Dragons. And again, they bring it back from the brink. But these are expensive rounds for them, man. These are expensive rounds. They're getting picked off left and right. And this is definitely not doing them any favors as far as money is concerned.
Yeah, this is, you know, Astana are winning rounds, but as you say, they're losing a lot of money. And that was actually a really close round. You know, Astana lives for 3 members, but if MI picks off the guy by CT vents there, that round changes completely. That should be GamePub round if MI gets that frag, because then he's gonna have, you know, a possibility to backstab the entire Astana team. So small margins right now, and I'm hopeful, but you know, in regards to GamePub's chances of taking this map.
Well, there's the block train coming in. Dosia's still alive, however, and he is just hanging in there. He goes for the knife and gets the knife. What's up, Dosia? But they went for the Glock train straight down ramp. NiKO took point, all the team behind him, and, well, Dosia stood strong. And his teammates were able to wrap in and save him in time as well. So, well, Astana, that was a very quick round. Here's the answer, however, coming up from GamePub. They're like, well, okay then. Galils, 1 AK, some nades.
Yeah, they, you know, they know that Astana are not in a comfortable position, and at this point, GamePub can pretty much feel free to buy whenever they want to, because they've got such a big cushion in terms of rounds that they're free to take chances like this and try to catch Astana off guard. And as you know, as we say that, they get 2 entry frags on Dosia and Angel on ramp, and this spells trouble for Astana.
Oh, this is a big deal, though. We do have AdreN managing to pick off Emmy, who was going for this flank position. This gets a little bit difficult now. Vents are open, and now, well, GamePub. This is still markeloff, actually. You know, we're watching markeloff right now. He's actually heading back up top to make sure that they haven't been able to wrap around through yard, or that they aren't up to any kind of shenanigans that way. But now it looks like GamePub again going to be focusing at least on the ramp room for now. They've got 50 seconds. That's the thing. They have plenty of time to work with here.
Lots of time, and they just really want to get a gauge of the situation, really, and get to, you know, a democratic
come to an
decision.
agreement.
Yeah, democratic agreement, you know, on where they want to go, and it seems like they're opting for the lower bomb site.
They have to be the case, and already though they have Kucher. They have to deal with him. He gets 1 before getting taken out. AdreN actually taking a lot of damage up in the vents before getting chased away as well. He's going to try and wrap around back to Rube. That could be a great opportunity here for him. He tries to come through, but he is not going to find it in the end. Gets taken out through the smoke by NENO. And now it is that 1-on-2. markeloff has to clutch it for his team. He's waiting to see if the man is going to come around. There's the window shot, but it's not meant to be. NENO gets him in the end. markeloff drops. He can't save the day. The GG, full GG, in fact, comes out from Astana Dragons. But that is GamePub up 1-0 in this series in the winner bracket.
And that was so well played by GamePub. That was, you know, having a game plan